Get your money, don't care who judge. Stay out the way, surround yourself with nothing but love. Stay out the way, if you a gangster, killer or thug. Stay out the way, put your faith in the man above. Stay out the way, chill with your family, siblings and blood. Stay out the way, kick it with your girl, forget hit in the club. Stay out the way, mind on your money, ain't no switching it up. Stay out the way, stand out the way, what you thought that it was. Stay out the way. If you stuck down on your luck, not feeling righteous, did a petty crime, just looking for some excitement. Now your name on affidavits and court indictments, get paid for a lot, but your freedom is priceless. You did the crime, you do the time, don't let it surprise you. Real stories from the heart, just to open your eyes up.
Like, subscribe, let's get it. Let's go. That joke was crazy, man. He was like, man, they act like they don't even know I'm about to go home, Weezy. So he was still getting, the dude was like, man, look, just come over there when you finish, man. When they call him rep, just come over there, man. So he was like, cuz I was like, man, all right, man, I ain't get a haircut yet, man. All right, cuz. So dude dipped. When the dude dipped, I'm still standing at the door. I went back to the door. I was like, dang, bro. I was like, man, bro, they ain't even let you make your bed yet. He was like, man, that's the thing about doing this stuff, though, man. He was like, man, when you the person on this squad, bro, that got all the hot, it's like you gotta do everything, you know what I mean? He was like, I kind of like be called for everything, bro. He said, I fight, I try to get some money, I try to, you know what I mean, put the pressure on a couple of people, man. He's like, I gotta do everything. I be trying to teach them, but a lot of them dudes be green, Weezy, man. I was like, shh, that joke crazy, man. So he was like, man, shh. Took his little slippers off, he started putting his shoes on, you know what I mean, because he knew he was about to call rap. I said, yo, bro, let me ask you a question, man. He was like, what? I said, when you about to go to the crib? He was like, shh, I got 3 months left, Weezy. I said, you got 3 months left, bro? He was like, I got 3 months. I said, man, stop welling, bro. I said, I thought you was talking about it at the end of the year or something like that, bro. He was like, no, I got 3 months. I said, so you go home when the summer over with, bro? He was like, yeah. I was like, oh my God, bro. I was like, well, I know you lucky, bro. I know you super lucky, bro. He was like, when you go home, Weezy? I was like, shh, bro, I go home 2017. He was like, oh. He said, I mean, it ain't long, Weezy. You got a little minute. I said, bro, I already been down already. 7, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, bro, it's crazy, man. He was like, man, no, you gonna be all right, though, man. He was like, but real though, man, like, doing this time, like, it's easy, but it be hard, though. He was like, man, since I've been up here, bro, I ain't doing up fighting, just wilding out, everything, bro. I was like, man, what they say to you when you went back in for that? He was like, man, they ain't say nothing because the dude, they ain't say I fought him, you know what I mean? He was like, I just had to DP him, you know what I mean? Because he was wild. I'm like, yeah. So he was like, I come from out of that. But he was like, still though, man, like, he was like, man, sometimes this joint be draining me, cuz. I was like, man, I can imagine, bro. Like, you the Swiss Army now, bro. You got to do everything for the crew. He was like, man, I know, man, but like, you know, this is what I signed up for, man. So, you know, I was like, yo, bro, the only advice I'm going to tell you, because I don't know if they telling you this. I said, I rock with you, bro. I said, we went to school together back in the day. We weren't that cool back then. I said, well, look, bro, like, people that I know, I kind of just, you know what I mean? I rock with, bro. So, like, the advice I'm going to give you right now, bro, don't let them dudes mess up that release date, bro. I said, what you tell me earlier, bro? You got a daughter you trying to go on to, you trying to catch your brother before he get too old and jump off the porch and he 14 already. I said, so look, don't let none of them dudes mess your release date up, bro. He was like, nah, they ain't gonna mess my release date up, though, man. But he was like, for real, if dudes don't start doing what I tell them to do and how to move, how I tell them to move, man, I'm gonna put these balls on the Weezy, man. And like, you know, like, that's what it is. So I'm like, man, all right, bro, you know what I mean? So I left. I think I said enough. You know, there's no way in the world he could be able to tell the blue team that he's not gonna be able to come over there and rectify that situation, whatever is going on over there. I already knew he was obligated to whatever his duty was, and that's being in the blue team. So I gave him my advice, and that was that, y'all. So boom, I did back to the cell and relax, man. I did back to the cell and relax. I heard when they was calling outside rep. So I just got up and just went out, you know what I mean? But I ain't go outside, I was like on the hallway. You know what I mean? Just seeing what's going on. Hollering at my old homeboy, that's a 43. I'm like, just looking around, I'm like, you know what I mean? So I'm out in the hallway, I look, I just seen Cuzzo. Cuzzo came out to jump like bad dudes. I told y'all his cell is all the way in the top left corner. So I'm out in the hallway, but I can just go like this and see in my pod. All the doors are open, 1, 2, and 3. I'm in 1, me and Cuzzo in 1. So I'm like this, I'm just out in the hallway, I just turn around and look. I just seen Cuzzo coming down the steps like bad dudes. He's like, he hit the hallway. He was like, I look, he had on a cut off t-shirt, arms out. He was like, where they at, cuz? Dude was like, man, come on, man, come on. So when I looked at 62 pod, all I seen was like 15 dudes all the way in the back. that looked like they was red team. And I looked, it was like 6 other dudes that I guess was the blue team that was like off to the side over here. So when Cuzzo come in that jump, this word, he walked in that jump like he was OG Bobby Johnson on South Central. This is my word, walked in that jump. Man, Cuzzo went straight in that jump and popped the top. He threw his shirt off. He was like, "What's up? What's up, man? We done told y'all, man, we gonna get along here, cuz. Or we gonna get it on. One or the other. We either gonna get along or we gonna get it on. One or the other, cuz." Yeah. He just got his shirt off in the middle of the tension. I'm saying to myself, man, this man just got out the whole 5 minutes ago, y'all. So boom. He's a natural lunatic. You know what I mean? A natural lunatic, man, like, it's slightly different from a maniac. A maniac is just gonna freaking be a maniac. A natural lunatic, he don't care about repercussions. He don't care about his family. He don't care about his release date. He don't care nothing about except what's going on right now in front of him, man. So he's a natural lunatic, man. That's the definition of a natural lunatic. And this is who bro was. And like, even if he knew I was watching him, he didn't even know I was watching him. Maybe he looked and saw me, but the doors were still open. I'm just looking at him like, man, like, bro he gonna step up for that team, man, like he should. He joined it, he should step up for them, man. But for God's sakes, he got 3 months left, y'all. So boom. He in that jump holding it down, though. The red team in there saying their piece. You know what I mean? I see my old roommate that's in charge of the red team, of a certain crew of the red team. He the one that they call when it's situations. Like, he get called when it's situations. Like, the police gave him this job description. They told him, if there's a situation going on with the red team, we can let you out. You go over there and try to water on the fire. You know what I mean? So that's what he would do. I see my roommate going over there. You know what I mean? My roommate go over there. He's standing in the jump. Next thing you know, the doors closed. They closed all the doors. So when the doors closed, I couldn't really see what was going on. You know what I mean? But I just went on and went back in the pod, man, because I'm saying to myself, like, what could I do? I can't do nothing. Cuzzo in this jump tripping, man, like, for real, man. Like, you know, when you about to go home, man, you got to be real careful, man. I've seen dudes that work the red and the blue team go home. Like, I've seen it, man. Like, you know, all of them don't be on type of time Cuzzo be on. But Cuzzo's already in the organization where the odds are stacked against him. You know what I mean? So he's always going to move like that. Like, the odds are stacked against him. So I really didn't blame him as much. I just looked at it like it was crazy, though. Like, for real, bro, you messing up your release date. You know what I mean? You messing the joint up, man. So, like, I got to let him make his own moves, and that was that. Thank God nothing happened. And I knew nothing had happened because when he finally came back in the pod, I seen him. I was like, yes, he made it back. I thought he was just about to crash out, and then when he came back, he had his shirt over his shoulder. You know what I mean? Like, he was still on some go time. So when he come back in the joint, he talking to my old roommate. They come back in kind of together. So they had like a one-on-one conversation. Then I looked up. It was another dude from the blue team. I want to say he was from Lynchburg or something, man. He wasn't from Tidewater or from Richmond. I think he was from Lynchburg. But he was one of the like type of leader too. You know what I mean? He ended up coming over the junk. So he came over there. So when he came over there, that guy was talking. You know what I mean? He was talking. Then another dude from the red team ended up coming over there. So they all by the brick wall having a big members meeting. That's my word, man. That jump like the co-op on the wire, y'all. So boom. All these maniac and gangsters all together in one. That's what it looked like, man. It looked like a super fake co-op. I was like, man, look at this, man. But they all trying to hash out their problems and I guess fix whatever was going on over there in 62 pod. So they had a conversation. It was over with. You know what I mean? They leave. The dudes in other pods, they sneak out, they leave. So Cuzzo stayed out in the pod. You know what I mean? He went and hopped on the wall phone. He used the phone. He get off the phone. I come down the stairs. He see me. I was like, man, I just started laughing when I seen him. I'm like, yo, bro, you out of control, bro. He was like, what happened? I said, man, you just got out the hole, bro. You was about to turn up already. He was like, yeah, cause one of the red team dudes, man, they try to carry one of my homies, man. And like, you know, I make them fight. Like, you gonna fight if I'm around. That's how I carry, you know what I mean? So, like, you know, I'm there for him, little Weezy. I'm like, that's what's up, man. You know what I mean? That's what's up, bro. He was like, yeah, though, man. Like, I'm trying to put together something now, though, for, you know, like, they can get some money, man. Like I want them to get some money, Weezy, man. Like, I can't really jeopardize myself because I'm gonna be on that extensive blue team probation when I get out. So, like, they gonna be color coding me. They gonna be making visits, house calls. They gonna be doing all of that, man. So, like, I ain't gonna be able to move for them as I could. So they gonna have to figure it out. That's why I'm trying to put them in a predicament, a situation that's profitable before I go home. So I'm like, I mean, that sound like a plan, bro. You know, I feel you, you know what I mean? It sound like a plan, but you know how things work out in penitentiary, man. He was like, yeah, I know how things work out, man. But like, at the same time, though, Weezy, like, for real, man, these dudes gonna have to move how I tell them to move. They gonna have to move how I tell them to move, man. I said, oh, what, though? I said, because I'm pretty sure you've been going through this since the street, man, because you picked the organization that's kind of like still in build-up mode. Like, it's not the blue team from the West. It's not the blue team from Tennessee. It's not the blue team from down. This is the blue team from Virginia. they're fairly new blue team. So I'm like, bro, I know that's a hard task for you to try to get them to move how you want them to move. He was like, listen, it's hard because for one, I'm not all of them dudes big homies. He was like, we'll talk Weezy. I'm not even a big homie. I said, you're not a big homie. He was, I'm not even a big homie. He said, I got a big homie. I said, so why are you like you in charge? He was like, I'm not in charge. I'm not in charge, Weezy. I just know how to fight. That's just what it is. I just know how to fight. So if you somebody that know how to fight, then like they just kind of like choose you to be who they want you to be. He was like, for real, I ain't got the rank that they trying to choose me to be. But still though, like I'm gonna try to help them move right though, man. I said, yeah, that'll work, bro. I said, but like they just staying too much stuff though. You know what I mean? They staying too much stuff. He was like, but that's about the end though. That's about the end, because now I'm about to try to set this play up for they can be straight. So when I heard the play, I'm like, play? He was like, yeah, I gotta go play, man. I was like, what kind of play you got? You know what I mean? Y'all know I still ain't get my feet wet yet. I'm like, what kind of play you got? He was like, man, you know what I mean? Somebody's supposed to be coming through, bringing that work, you know what I mean? We're trying to get this work in, Weezy, man. Forget it, bro. I said, bro, you got 3 months left, bro. He was like, 2 months to change now. I'm like, bro, you super short, bro. I said, bro, you short. You short as a freaking midget land, y'all. So boom. So you about to go to the crib any minute now, bro. He was like, man, it don't feel like it. He's like, I gotta make sure they on the right track and make sure everything's smooth, bro. Everything ain't gonna matter about going home. I said, how it ain't gonna matter about you going home, bro? You say you got a daughter and a little brother you shot. He was like, man, they know what I signed up for though. So like they know me, man. So like, you know what I mean? I was like, bro, this be easy, man. You know what I mean? That's all I'm gonna tell you, bro. Like, you know, he was like, nah, you right. I be needing somebody like you, Weezy, man. He's like, ain't nobody else gonna say nothing. I said, I'm like this now. I said, don't get me wrong. My early Susses days, bro, I didn't care, bro. It is what it is, you know what I mean? I said, but like, you know, after I had to sit down for a year or two just to try to make it to Lawrenceville and stay out of the way and do this right and do that right, I said, like, I felt like I matured through that time. I said, you know, I got a little older. I said, I felt like my whole body, my whole mind, everything matured, bro. So I just look at things differently, like, and I don't like seeing dudes just crash out like I rock with. He was like, I ain't gonna crash out, cuz, just, you know what I mean? It's just protocol, that's all, Weezy. I'm like, hey, do you, my guy? So boom! Took his word, man, you know what I mean? Left him alone. I go check on my man Ty. I go upstairs and mess with Ty for a minute. Ty asked me what's been going on. I said, man, nothing, bro. I just was checking on Cuzzo. I said, Cuzzo was about to wreck 5 minutes ago, bro. He like, for real? He's got the hole. I said, man, Cuzzo out. I said, Cuzzo out of control, man. I'm like, but for real though, I already know what it is, bro. I said, them other dudes he with, it's like they don't got the type of heart that he got. You know what I mean? So it's like he up front doing everything. He doing everything. He gotta rumble. He gotta be the leader. He gotta get the money. He gotta do everything, man. Ain't nothing gonna happen for these guys, man. And that's how bad the system is. And it's probably like that on the street in a lot of instances for the red and the blue team or whatever, like organization that you with. Like, it's always somebody that has a great idea to try to keep them right. But it's like, y'all want him to catch, clean, cook the food and serve it though. Like, y'all want him to do everything, man. Y'all don't want just to learn the game and take your game. Nah, y'all want him to do everything. And that's what they was doing with Cuzzo. Cuzzo got to run with the dudes. He got to come over there and diffuse the situations. He got to make them a situation where they can get some money. And he got to still make it home through all of this, man. Like, I just felt like with all of that, man, that was just too much. That was just too much. So my homeboy was like, basically, man, look, I done seen dudes, a lot of dudes. He was like, but the only thing is, I ain't been around none of the members who about to go home like Cuzzo. He was like, Cuzzo about to go home. He was like, Cuzzo was a freaking idiot if he fumbled to go home for them freaking dudes, man. I'm like, bro, I was saying the same thing. You know what I mean? I was saying the same thing. So we just kicked about that a minute. I let bro go. I went back to the cell, went downstairs. So a couple days go by, y'all. A couple days that went by, I'm in the cell chilling. You know what I mean? I'm in the cell chilling. Cuzzo pull up to the door. He pull up to the door. He was like, hey, Weezy, hey, look, I gotta holler at you. I'm like, what's up? I was like, come in. He was like, all right, he come in the cell. I'm like, what's up? He was like, hey, look, I need you to hold this for me. I'm like, oh, what? He was like, he went in his, like everybody had the little pocket joint in their sweats, like the inside pocket. He went in his joint, he was like, and he whipped out a little flat, little phone. It wasn't a flip, it was just like a little flat joint, like this big. He was like, I was like, what's that? He was like, what do you think it is? I was like, what you want me to do? He was like, hold it for me right quick. I said, hold it for you. I said, is it on? He was like, yeah, I think it's on. I said, bro, this your phone? He was like, no, it ain't my phone. I was like, bro, whose phone is this, bro? He was like, this dude that used to be on the blue team, bro, that's a 43 pod. I'm like, who? He was like, you don't know him, you don't know him. He was like, the whole time he had a jack. And you know what I mean? He dropped his flag and stopped rocking with us because he wanted to rock with the dudes that we from and all this. So he was like, man, like for real, man, like I just got tired of looking at his face, man. He was like, you know, at first before I went to the hole, I had let it go. But he was like, I seen him the other day. I just got tired of looking at his face, man. So I just went over there and took his phone. I was like, you took his phone? He was like, yeah, I took his phone. I took that joke, man. I went right over there and took it, man. He was like, for real, he didn't even do shit. That nigga a bitch, he ain't do nothing. I just went in his room, opened his door up, he was on the jump. I snatched it out of his hand and just walked out. I'm like, you just walked out. He was like, I need this to make my play. But still though, I know you might have to fight because he might got to holler at some dudes. So I'm just telling you, keep holding for me, bro, till I get this situated. So I'm like I won't feeling this, man, but like for real, I only used the jack probably a few times. Like my roommate had a situation. He was from the beach. He was cool with these two dudes that was from his city, from the beach, and they had a phone, but they wasn't trying to get no money like that. They had a phone for amusement, which was cool because back then you have a phone for whatever you want. But they had a phone. I think sometimes, you know, they can get their numbers. You can do a lot when you have a cell phone. So like, I didn't have access to the phone, but when I did have to use the phone, I would have to go in his room and then get under the bed. Like it was a crazy situation, man. Like his phone had a bad like reception, like, you know what I mean, like it was just all bad. But if you get under his bed, you could be able to use the phone. And I hated that. So like, I only used the phone once. My roommate got me in and let me use their joint. I used it once. So this was the second time. This would be the second time. So as soon as I touch the joint, I feel it vibrate. I'm like, bro, it's vibrating now here. He was like, I don't know who the hell this is, Weezy, man. He was like, don't answer it. I was like, so I put it back in my pocket. I was like, can I use it? He was like, yeah, you can use it. I said, when you coming back to get it? He was like, I don't know. It depends how this joke go at when we come back from trial. I'm like, bro, so you say that like they gonna come run down on you? He was like, I don't know what dude gonna do the bitch. He was like, I'm about to send my homie to go over there and crash out on him. You know what I mean? But he was like, for real, Weezer, man, I might gotta go over there and beat his ass, because if he say something, that means he don't like what I did. And if he don't like what I did, that means I gotta go over there and whoop him. You know what I mean? So I'm like, why you gotta go whoop him if he's just say he don't like what you did? I said, he ain't do nothing after you took the phone. Why you gotta whoop his ass? He was like, cuz, once he dropped his flag, God damn it, I don't fuck with him no more. He don't supposed to say shit to me no more. So fuck that nigga, cuz. Straight up. I'm like, all right, man. I was trying to hurry him, get him out of the cell if I could use the jack. So he leave. You know what I mean? As soon as he leave, I throw the cut up. I threw the cut up, y'all. It's my word. Instantly behind my back. Instantly my bed was like, dial the number. Jump ringing. I'm like, oh. I called my own Dukes. I called everybody. My word, bro, ain't even come back when they called child. He didn't even come back to say when they called child. They said, stand by for child. Stand by for child. Y'all eating next. Y'all eating next. So I look up. You see the two-part leaving out. You know what I mean? So I'm looking around. I'm like, I'm about to holler at Ty and let him know what's going on. I'm like, looking around. I'm like, where Cuzzo at? I'm like, Cuzzo ain't in the pod. I see his roommate coming down the steps. I said, hey, what's Sully on there? He was like, no, he ain't here. I thought he was in your cell. I said, nah, he ain't in my cell. He was like, well, I don't know where I did. I could see Ty getting himself together. I was like, bro, hurry up, bro. You know what I mean? He was like, I'm coming, hold on. So Ty getting his stuff together. I'm just standing there like, man, Cuzzo ain't even in the pod. I'm looking around like, Cuzzo got about this J. This is my word, Cuzzo got about this J. So we like, man. So I'm just still standing there waiting on bro to come. So bro finally come. Bro come down the steps. So he come down the steps. I was like, bro, we get to walk. I'm like, man, you ain't gonna believe this, man. So the lady closed the door on us. Boom. The lady closed the door. So we're like, yo, we come back. We're like, yo, open the door. We're going to eat. We was running a little late. We're like, yo, open the door. We're going to eat. She was like, hold on. I gotta let another pod out. We was like, all right. We trying to go with them then. She was like, all right, once they leave, I'm gonna let y'all go behind them. I was like, all right. So we just was standing by the door. You know what I mean? We just standing by the door, standing like this. You know what I mean? I seen my homeboy, my other homeboy that I rock with from Norfolk. He over in 43 pod, which is across from us. The 2 part is right here, then it's the 3. So it's 1, 2, and 3. That's how the building is shaped like the Pentagon. That's what it looked like on Lawrenceville. Like it's like an octagon. 1, 2, and 3. You know what I mean? Ain't no upstairs, none of that. You know what I mean? So my homeboy come to the door. He spot me and Ty at the door. I was like, what's up, bro? What's good? And he was like, what you talking about? He was like, Cuzzo. He looked back. He was like, Cuzzo. I was like, Cuzzo? He was like, Cuzzo. I was like, Cuzzo in my pod? He was like, yeah. I was like, what's up? He was like, he did that job. I was like, what, he got beat up? I said, he got beat up? He was like, next thing you know, they trying to open up again. They trying to open up. All you see is Cuzzo with the squeeze out pads, bro. Cuzzo was like, his shirt was ripped. His junk was bleeding right here. He had like a scratch right here. He was like, he came to the junk. He was like, open the slide up for me, Weezy. Get the slide open for me, Weezy.
Get your money, don't care who judge. Stay out the way, surround yourself with nothing but but love. Stay out the way if you a gangster, killer or thug. Stay out the way, put your faith in the man above. Stay out the way, chill with your family, siblings and blood. Stay out the way, kick it with your girl, forget hit in the club. Stay out the way, mind on your money, ain't no switching it up. Stay out the way, staying out the way, what you thought that it was. Stay out the way. If you stuck down on your luck, not feeling righteous, did a petty crime, just looking for some excitement. Now your name on affidavits and court indictments, get paid for a lot, but your freedom is priceless. You did the crime, you do the time, don't let it surprise you. Real stories from the heart, just to open your eyes up.